Well, thanks for coming today. Appreciate everybody coming out and joining us. This is much better weather than we had in Spokane this morning, so I'm pretty thrilled to see a little bit of sunshine. I'm Jason Clark. I'm the Executive Director of Second Harvest, and I want to thank our friends Carol Richardson and our folks at the Quincy Food Bank for hosting us and having us up there. They just have a lovely food bank here. Feeding people in Washington has gotten a bit more problematic and challenging over the last couple of years. And I'm extremely grateful for all the individuals, the growers, the producers, the farmers, the corporations that have stepped up and helped us address the need over the last 2 years. And I want to also acknowledge the great work that Governor Gregoire has done on this issue with her Feeding Washington initiative. She's really put a call to action out there in communities across Washington and asking folks to support their local food bank, and I think folks are responding, and that's very important right now. And a wonderful example of a couple of folks who have really acted as catalysts under the Feeding Washington program are Blaine Hirai of Annie's Fund and Hirai Farm, and Kerwin Higashi of Sodexo, another great partner in the fight against hunger. And their efforts have resulted in hundreds of thousands of pounds of food coming into food banks across the state. And just to look at who helped with today's event, we have Sodexo, Hirai Farms, McCain Foods, Farmer Bean Company, Annie's Fund, and National Frozen Foods. All those companies have come together to make this possible. And many of those same companies joined us on the campus at Gonzaga University last December, or November actually, when we had a large contribution there as well. And so all those events have helped us generate food that we need to feed hungry people. So I'd like to ask Kerwin to come up and say a few words, and thanks again for everything you've done to help out.
Good afternoon. Again, I'm Kerwin Higashi. I'm standing here on behalf of Sodexo. For those of you who don't know Sodexo, we're one of the leading food and facilities management companies in North America. We have over 600 outlets within the state of Washington that we serve, and we have about 1,000 managers and employees in the state of Washington. Sodexo has an ongoing commitment to serving our local communities, and especially when it comes to hunger. There's a big need out there. We've all heard the stories that there's over 1 billion people that are out there hungry every day, and that's what we have a passion for in serving. About 2.5 years ago, I met a gentleman at a reception, Blaine Hirai, down in Los Angeles, and we were just there, and he said, "Hey, you're from Washington?" And I said, "Yes, I'm from Washington as well." We struck up this friendship, and because we have so much business in Washington, we have a lot of manpower. Blaine, as a farmer, said, "Hey, I have a lot of product, but I need a way to distribute it and to give it to people in need." We started this partnership. In fact, we call it the vertically integrated partnership, because we have it from the farmer to the wholesaler, to the jobber, to the distributor, and then we are the end user, because we produce the food as well. And so we started with one event 2.5 years ago where we had about 100 managers from Sodexo that went to one of our food banks. Blaine was able to donate, at that time, frozen corn, and we packed the frozen corn for that food bank. Our goal at that time was to pack about 1 million pounds of food. Our goal for next year is to serve 1 million families. Packed enough food to serve 1 million families in the state of Washington and to support Governor Gregoire's Feeding Washington campaign. So glad to be a part of this. We are proud to be here to serve. Jason Clark is in Second Harvest. It's been a wonderful initiative, and we will continue this as we go on year after year. So I'm going to step off the stage and introduce my good friend, the man that drives all of this, Blaine Hirai.
My dad started this quite a few years ago, having us give something back to the community. And Kerwin, as Kerwin told you, when he and I met, it made a lot of, we struck up this friendship. One thing is he's from Redmond, and I grew up in Woodinville, and I also grew up over here. As you know, Redmond and Woodinville are very close together, and well, we just hit it off. And when Sodexo came along, it made a lot of difference because we were able to bring in national, McCain Foods, and then Food Services of America worked with us, and Cisco. And as a group, we're able to do a lot more, and we're able to give away a lot more food, and that's really what we're after here. And it's been a great opportunity for us, and Kerwin has some big goals as far as feeding 1 million people, or 1 million families. And it's all due to the governor's call to feed Washington. Anyway, since I'm the hometown boy here, I get to introduce the governor. I'd like all of you to join me in introducing our governor, Quincy Gregoire.
Well, thank you all. Thanks for the chance for coming by. To Sodexo, to you, Kerwin, and to you, Dwayne, to Andy's Fund. Congratulations on a great vision and what you're making possible here. And to all of the companies that are here represented, thank you for your commitment to making sure that the people of the state of Washington in these most desperate times are going to be able to make it. We're joined by two wonderful legislators, Representative Kandata, thank you for coming, right in your own backyard, appreciate it. Representative Phyllis Gutierrez-Kinney, who came from the western part of the state. Phyllis, thank you for your coming. Thank you all for what you're doing to harvest this and for our farmers for growing. You know, I made a commitment that I was going to myself, along with my family, give no less than an hour a month, most often at a food bank like yours. And we've done that, and we continue to do that. I learned that lesson because as I read about the Great Depression, more than frankly I ever thought I'd ever in my life, trying to learn some lessons from them, I asked myself, how did people come out of that depression so united, so committed, as like a new and positive day for the country? In fact, went on obviously to win the war, but how they did it is they started looking out for their fellow human being. They started saying that we need to help our fellow neighbor in these tough times. We need to be a person who, when we have the ability to give, we give, because when we don't have the ability to give, we want someone to be able to give to us. This is a great food bank. I recently visited one in Seattle. I want you to know my experience. I was standing there, and most of the people who came through the line recognized me. One gentleman came through and he recognized me and he said, you know, I've been coming to this food bank for years, but I have always stood on your side of the table. He had never, ever been a recipient of the food bank services. He had always been one to give out the food. And he said, you know, in these tough times, I was surprised, but here I am. And thank goodness for things like food banks. What would we do without them? Your goal, your vision of 1 million, thank you. Congratulations, well done. To all of you for what you're doing in these most difficult times, to making sure that our families are going to be able to have the food that they need, thank you for what you're doing. Representative Ormsby has joined us from Spokane. Thank you, Representative Ormsby. So I come to celebrate today the new data center here to create some jobs, to start a new economic opportunity for the Quincy area. I'm going to go over to the intermodal, take a look at what we're doing with cold storage by taking our wonderful agriculture and sending it east. But meanwhile, we can do all that good, create all those jobs, send our crops around the globe, but we need to fundamentally remember priority number one, which is to help the people in our own backyard. And that's what today is about. I thank you all for what you do. I congratulate you. It's great to see a food bank in Quincy here of this caliber. And I ask God to bless each and every one of you for what you're doing for the people of the state of Washington. Thank you all very much.
I'm going to do all of them.
Yeah, get them all.